Hey, what's going on? You know who it is. You know what it is. All right, you guys, peep game. All right, man. Shout out to Champside Boxing, man. I got a chance to listen to a great video by Champside Boxing, man. Once again, subscribe to Champside Boxing's channel. He come with that real every day. You know what I'm saying? Like he say, he got the hottest brand in the land. Straight out of the 504, New Orleans, baby. But anyway. Um, he talked about the Andre Ward Terence Crawford interview, and I went and watched it. I signed up for ESPN Plus, and I'm about to cancel that shit probably in a couple of days. 7-day free trial, but I'm gonna cancel that shit probably when I get to the East Coast. But anyway, it was like a 15-minute interview. They touched on a variety of subjects. And Terence Crawford talked about the media. He talked about lack of promotion. He talked about the double standards in boxing. He talked about racism in boxing. So I'm going to get to some of the subjects that he talked about. Um, as far as his beef with the media, he say that the media pushes a certain narrative, and, they take words and they take words and twist his words, and they turn it into something else. Well, uh I can rebuttal that. First of all, I've never taken anybody's words and twisted it around. If I repeat something that a fighter says, I'm repeating what a fighter says. I don't push a narrative. If anybody's seen my interviews, mostly all my questions are boxing related. I don't try to set none of these dudes up. I don't ask them no trick questions. And I think that's not fair that Terence Crawford is putting all of the media in one category, because at the end of the day, people have reached out to Terence Crawford. People several times have tried to interview him. They given him the floor. They offer him the floor, and he's rejected people extending their hand and extending offers to do interviews. So at the end of the day, like I said, I don't have no grudge against Terence Crawford, but at the end of the day, I've tried to talk to him, and he's frozen me out the same way he says he's being frozen out by the PBC fighters, and I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, and I don't want. And here's the thing, you guys. This is just real talk. I don't want you guys to hate Terence Crawford because of how he's treated certain people in the media, because I'm not pushing that agenda. I don't want y'all to hate Terence Crawford. I don't want y'all to have animosity towards Terence Crawford. At the end of the day, Terence Crawford just got to give people a chance. That's, he got to give people a chance. He got to open up. And, you know, if he would give people a chance, he would see that everybody is not out to get him. Nobody's pushing the narrative. Anytime, like I said, I've interviewed a boxer, it's been boxing related. I don't care about who you're dating or none of that shit. I don't care what you do when you're not boxing, for the most part. I try to keep, what I'm saying, I try to mind my own business as far as that go. But he touched on a variety of subjects. One of the subjects that he also talked about, he talked about, lack of promotion. He feels that the Amir Khan fight could have been bigger, he said, had it had the proper promotion behind it. Well, I'm on the verge of setting up an exclusive interview with Bob Arum. I'm gonna try to get like at least a 20 to 25-minute interview with Bob Arum, because I gotta ask him these questions. You have Shakar Stevenson, you have Terence Crawford that's not happy with the way they've been promoted since they've been on the top ranked roster. So that's some questions that I need to address when it comes to Bob Arum, and I'm gonna ask Bob Arum what is the future for Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford also talked about he's frustrated. He says he believes, now I believe this, I've said this on several occasions, and people seem to get mad, but ask me, do I give a flying fuck? Where he says that he believed that the PBC fighters are being taught not to even say his name or acknowledge him as a champ. Now, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I agree with that 100%. You know, he says he's been trying to fight those guys, and he said he can't get those fights. And at the end of the day, I've said this before, he has to go to Bob Arum. The same way he was talking about, well, why can't we sit down at the table and have a meeting on what's next, what's the big plan for Terence Crawford? And I agree with him wholeheartedly. Here's the thing, ESPN act like they don't get it. Maybe they need to hire me or 7-8 or somebody like that. What I would do for Bud, I would put a special the same way they do for the PBC fighters, where they have Fight Camp and PBC on Fox. The same way they have that. Why don't they have that for Bud? They got an exclusive deal with ESPN. I don't know. I don't know why they're not doing that. Somebody needs to ask Bob Arum those questions. I mean, it's not like Bob Arum is going to cuss you out. I know those dudes like to ask basic questions and shit, but at the end of the day, you got to ask why questions. It's cool to ask the questions about, what's next and how's it going and all that kind of shit, but at the end of the day, you got to ask more why questions and what's going on and when. And see, that's the problem. There's not enough what, why, and when stuff is going to happen questions. And Bob Arum needs to be asked those type of questions. So he talked about a lot of things. He talked about race and boxing. He talked about the double standards that go on in boxing. He said that, and he used this person's name. It started with Dre bringing his name up, and then Terence Crawford talked about that. The stigma where they say, or they want every fighter to act like Floyd. And, Bud said he not going to sit up there and do stuff like that. Because he said at the end of the day, they laughing at you behind your back. And I agree with that. It was a real candid interview with Bud. He spoke a lot of truth in the interview. I just wish he would talk to other people about it. But like I keep saying, at the end of the day, you can't have it both ways. You can't sit up there and say you're not getting a promotion and all this type of stuff. Well, at the end of the day, we could do the promotion for you. Keep in mind, the media plays a pivotal role in what's going on. People are not paying attention to print media. They're paying attention to what we have to say. No matter how much people try to pretend that we're not relevant, we're very relevant. So, like I said, the interview is up. If you have ESPN Plus, just type up Andre Ward talks to Bud Crawford. And like I said, the interview is about 15 minutes long, and they touched on, like I said, a lot of subjects. But it was a great interview. So check it out when you get a chance. This your boy Town Biz. I'm out.